Hey everybody, this is D Hunter bringing another action figure review. Today we're going to be looking at the Hasbro Marvel Legends Magneto and Professor X 2-pack from the Fox X-Men films. I would say this pack is from Days of Future Past, but you could say it's from First Class or the first X-Men film. A lot of different uses here. The really special thing about this pack is it came with heads from both versions of Professor X and Magneto. We've got James McAvoy and Patrick Stewart, and we also have Michael Fassbender and Ian McKellen. Very cool way to handle this. So let's check out the packaging here. At the top, Marvel Legends series, X-Men logo, Magneto and Professor X by Hasbro. This is celebrating the 20th anniversary of the first film. I think it's so cool they give you the different heads both in the helmet and out of the two different actors. And they did the same with Professor X. At the top, Marvel Legends, got the X-Men logo. One side, you've got Magneto in dark. Other side, of course, it's Professor. At the bottom, there is a barcode here, in case that helps anybody, as well as a bunch of credits. And on the back side, you can see Professor and Magneto ready to go. So with no further ado, let's open it up. And I did end up getting two of these packs, mainly because I want to have both versions of Professor at the same time. Alright, now that we got these figures out of the package, here they are with all of their accessories laid out. Looks like Magneto comes with 3 alternate heads, totaling 4 interchangeable heads. We've got 2 Ian McKellen heads and 2 Michael Fassbender heads, one with the helmet on, one with the helmet off. He also has 2 alternate hands, totaling 4 interchangeable hands. Then the Professor here, he comes with an alternate head, one for Patrick Stewart and one for James McAvoy. And then he's got 3 alternate hands, totaling 5 different hands. They've also got the wheelchair, Professor's wheelchair, and it looks to be a new design, not reused from before. But before we look at their accessories, let's check out the actual figures. So here's Magneto. My only complaint about this guy, this is an outfit that I believe only Michael Fassbender wore. So we do have the alternate different heads for the 2 actors, but makes this one not screen accurate when having Ian McKellen's head on him. Still happy they did what they did. This is Michael Fassbender's head with the helmet on. You can see he's angry, kind of got his teeth exposed. Got the cape, got the armor, different texture up top and below. Really like what I'm seeing so far. Looks like double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. Definitely feeling it. And then we've got Professor. This is the James McAvoy head. They both look very nice. This is done on the Marvel Legends suited body, which has been used tons and tons of times over the years. Double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. Pretty scrawny, but the head looks really nice. And then here are the figures broken down as far as they can go, with all of their removable parts detached. And here are both sets of the figures broken down as far as they can go, with all of their removable parts detached. In this video, we're going to look at each one of the figures individually. We're going to check out their height, articulation, and accessories. We're going to compare them to as many other figures from the same actor as I have, and we're going to compare them to many other action figure lines. So let's start off with Magneto. So here's Magneto with all of his parts. Let's start off by checking out his hands. Here he is with his first pair of hands. This is a pair of fists. Works great with that angry, helmeted Michael Fassbender head. And then he's got some open hands. These are probably the preferred hands I'll use on Magneto, as this is him sort of moving metal or warping metal. I think it looks really cool in an action pose. Now let's check out his cape. This will come on and off pretty easily when you remove the head. It's maroon on the back, a little bit more brown on the inside. It's got a peg that'll help stabilize it on the figure, and a little bit of insignia on the collar. Here he is without his cape, and here he is wearing his cape. Now let's check out his heads. He has 4 different heads. 2 of them are Ian McKellen, the original Magneto, and two of them are Michael Fassbender, the recasted younger Magneto. I think it's really cool they took advantage of this figure and released it this way. That way you can have both versions. Sure, the costume isn't perfect for that, but it's just like the film Days of Future Past. They embrace the time that it's all screwed up, but let's just embrace it and have both casts and do something really exquisite. If only they had made these figures back when the film came out, but I'm very pleased with how Hasbro handled this. So I'd like to check out the original heads first. This is the Ian McKellen head with no helmet, and I'll say it looks pretty good. The likeness sure isn't perfect. It looks like a toy that was trying to look like Ian McKellen but fell a little bit short. The hair looks fine, no problem there. The face looks good but doesn't quite shout Ian McKellen to me. I mean, the wrinkles, the cheeks, it all looks really nice but not quite like the actor. And here's the Ian McKellen head with the helmet on. To me, this almost shouts Ian McKellen more than the other one, just because that helmet is right and has that distinct movie Magneto look to it. The gray eyebrows look pretty good. Nose kind of big like the actor. Overall, this one is a little bit more shouting the actor's likeness than the other one, at least to me. Now we've got the Michael Fassbender head with no helmet on. And I'll say it has pretty much the same problems as the Ian McKellen head. Yeah, it looks like Michael Fassbender. Looks like a toy that was trying to look like him but fell a little bit short. Hair looks pretty good. And I can see, I don't know, the eyebrows, the brow, the cheeks, what they tried to do, but it just doesn't quite look like him to me. Now I've already got a couple of extra Michael Fassbender heads from NECA's Prometheus and Alien Covenant lines. He played both David and Walter in those films. And I don't know what you guys think, but I personally think NECA did a much better job with the Michael Fassbender likeness. Just something about this guy, in particular his eyebrow area, just looks a little off. What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments below. I think NECA beat Hasbro this time. And here's his Michael Fassbender head with the helmet on, looking very angry, as he was in most of the films he'd been in. The helmet is different than Ian McKellen's, and I like that. That is screen accurate. I believe he got this helmet from Sebastian Shaw in the film. And he's just mad, showing his teeth, probably in the middle of getting revenge or something right now. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, now let's check out his height. From bottom to top, Magneto's sitting at about 6.3 inches tall, which is going to translate to about 16 centimeters. Now let's check out his articulation. I did remove his cape so it wouldn't get in the way of seeing anything, but I assure you it does not obstruct any of his articulation. So starting with his head here, of course he can rotate from side to side. He can look down about that far, up about that far, pretty nice range of motion there. Shoulders on a ball joint, they go about more than 90 degrees, up, down, around, all that good stuff. He's got a bicep cut below that, double jointed elbows below that. His wrists can rotate and it's hinged as well. He's got a ball joint in his chest, can rotate around, can also go forward and back, giving him a pretty nice range of motion there. Nothing going on, no waist swivel here. Legs on ball joints, they can go out about that far. Forward, about that much, and back, really not at all. Got a thigh cut, double jointed knees below that. Then he's got a boot cut. Then his feet, they can go up and down, and then they can tilt and rock quite a bit. Here are both of the different Magnetos next to each other. I think it's really cool they allowed you to do this, and you didn't have to buy 2 packs, unless you were me and you bought 2 packs anyway. But really cool, you can make it almost like Days of Future Past, but take it one step further, where they can actually meet each other. And here they both are, with their helmets off. Here he is, next to an older movie Ian McKellen Magneto figure. You can see how the figures have evolved over the years. And sure enough, they both have the helmeted and helmet off looks. Here he is, next to a Gandalf figure from Lord of the Rings, also played by Ian McKellen. Here's his Michael Fassbender Magneto, next to a bunch of other Michael Fassbender action figures. These are figures they've released or have made of David and Walter from Prometheus and Alien Covenant. And then between these X-Men and Alien figures and all these extra heads, you're looking at a bunch of Michael Fassbender heads in front of you. And now, let's check out the Professor figure, Charles Xavier, Professor X, played by Patrick Stewart or James McAvoy. And let's start off with his hands. Here he is with his first pair of hands. These hands are kind of outstretched. You could have them relaxed to the sides, although they don't look very relaxed. They're pretty tense. I'd say better for using his abilities, like so. And he does come with one additional right hand with his two fingers touching his temple, just like in the film when he's using his telekinetic abilities. I must say, I think that looks really, really nice. And here he is with his other pair of hands. These are his gripping hands. They're a little bit different, but should allow you to hold an item with him. Now let's check out his heads. He comes with two different heads. One to represent Patrick Stewart, the original Professor X, and then one to represent James McAvoy, the recasted younger version. And unlike the Magneto unmasked heads, I think these two are spot on with their likenesses. They both look quite a bit like the actor. Here's his first head. This is the Patrick Stewart head, the older Xavier, and I think it looks great. Just screams Patrick Stewart or Jean-Luc Picard. I just want to say engage. Think they executed this one very nicely. And here's the James McAvoy head. I also think it looks really good. Maybe not quite as good as the Patrick Stewart version, but I'm very pleased with what I'm looking at. I would love to see somebody add some long hair to one of these, see how that looks. Here are both of their different heads next to each other, and I think they look great. You could have them meet up, whether it be in physical form or just in their minds. I remember seeing an interview from James McAvoy saying that if they ever did a prequel show to Star Trek, that he'd be happy to play a young Picard. I think that's a pretty great idea. I think this worked out really good in the films. So now let's check out his wheelchair. This thing comes unassembled, and I guess that's so it fits in the packaging properly. Pretty easy to put together. Just slide that bar between these two pieces, attach the wheels on the side, and you're done. Here's his wheelchair fully assembled. It looks pretty good, but I'm going to have to say it's a pretty basic and crappy wheelchair. This would be the wheelchair that McAvoy used in the film, as the one that Patrick Stewart used in the later films had the X on the wheels. So it's pretty much one giant piece of plastic. No articulation at all. It'd be nice if these things were hinged. These wheels don't even function, and they look pretty bad. Don't get me wrong, these wheels do function. They've got rubber on the outside, and they've got the little handlebar on the inside. They're done very well, but they actually sort of scrape against the side here, so you can't just sort of spin them. And I don't even have them pushed in all the way. You can push them in further, where they're going to be more obstructed. So this thing looks good, but if you look at it closely, it's kind of bad at the same time. Here's the McAvoy Professor on the wheelchair. Fits in there perfect. The feet are on the pedals. His hands can touch the wheels. Sizes up great. So I took a wheelchair from the old movie Xavier from way back in the day and gave it to the Patrick Stewart version of this Xavier. So now we've got the McAvoy Professor in the proper wheelchair and the Stewart Professor in the proper wheelchair as well. Here are all the different wheelchairs I have in my action figure collection. A lot of them are from Professor X, but not all of them. From left to right, the first two are DC Oracle wheelchairs. Then we've got a couple of wrestling wheelchairs. The next one is from something called Mantis. Then we've got two of the floating Professor wheelchairs from the animated series and comics. Then two of these wheelchairs from these two packs. And the last three are all sort of movie designed. One of them was from the old Toy Biz movie line. And then the darker two are the same thing re-released in their Marvel Legends line. And then, just out of curiosity, can Barbara Gordon, Oracle, fit into the Professor's chair? This is a DC Direct Arkham Knight Barbara Gordon, and she fits in there just fine. Pretty cool. Here he is next to an older movie, Patrick Stewart, Professor X from the original film. You can see the evolution of toys over the years. One thing very interesting about this Professor X figure, they made him with legs that are just crazy loose, like he's crippled and can't use them. Very odd. Almost like he can't stand. It was very hard to balance him like that. Just always found that a very odd feature. And it surprises me to say, I don't have any other Patrick Stewart figures to compare him to. I like Star Trek, but I don't actually have any of the Star Trek figures. Regret not getting the McFarlane Picard from a couple of years ago. And as far as I know, I don't have any McAvoy figures either. And here they are, next to all the other Charles Xavier figures that I have. Up until recently, this was your best bet for a 6-inch scale Professor X. But we have a lot more options now. I cannot wait for the older Logan version. Here they are, next to a whole bunch of other Marvel Legends figures in suited bodies or regular clothing. Absolutely all these figures share many parts from the Professor X. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at this figure and his accessories, now let's check out his height. From bottom to top, he's sitting at about 6.2 inches tall, which is going to translate to a hair under 16 centimeters. And now let's check out his articulation. Starting with his head here, it can rotate from side to side. You can look down about that far, up about that far, pretty decent. Shoulders on a ball joint, then go out about 90 degrees, up, down, around, all that good stuff. Bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows below that, then go in pretty far. His wrist can rotate, and it's hinged as well. His chest here, he's got traditional waist swivel, and I'm thinking he's got some kind of a ball joint here. You can't see it, but his jacket is kind of soft good rubber, so you can still move a little bit side of there. Legs on ball joints, and go about that far. Forward about that much. Back, not at all. He's got a thigh cut below that. Double jointed knees below that. Then his foot goes up and down, and it can tilt and rock a little bit. Here's both the Professor and Magneto using their abilities. Magneto floating in midair, getting ready to move some metal, and Professor starting to use his telekinesis. And then here are both versions of both figures and characters doing the same thing. Magneto using his powers, and the same with Professor. And as Charles and Eric are having one of their many fights, Magneto has knocked him off his wheelchair, and you can see Professor struggling to get back up. And Magneto, able to bend metal at will, turns Professor's wheelchair into his own prison. And then here's Wolverine, eager to rush in, always thinking with his claws. And then Magneto shows Wolverine how powerful he is, and reminds him that adamantium goes through his entire body. Now let's check them out, compared with some other action figures. Starting off with some other X-Men figures. Here they are next to all the figures I have from Hasbro's 20th anniversary Marvel Legends X-Men collection. I decided to pass on Mystique, as a blue mutant creature is not going to do a lot in my action figure collection. From left to right here, we've got the Amazon exclusive Logan. Then we've got Magneto, Professor X, and the standard release Logan or Wolverine. And here they are, next to a bunch of the old original X-Men movie figures. I think I have a few more, but these are the only ones I could dig up. These figures are pretty basic and pretty crappy, but it's funny, Sabretooth actually is larger than these guys. And now, let's check them out, compared with some other action figures from different various companies, to see how they fit in both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix them with. Here they are with some of their Hasbro Marvel Legends brothers. And here they are with some more of their Hasbro brothers. Here they are with some G.I. Joe classified figures. Then, here they are with some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. And here they are next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. Then, with some Mafex figures. Now, here they are next to some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here they are with some Mezco 1/12 cloth soft goods action figures. Then with some Mattel wrestling figures. And here they are with some NECA figures. Then with some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. Here he is with some McFarlane toys. And finally, here they are with some DST or Diamond Select toys. So overall, this is a very nice action figure set. It's about time we started getting some high quality figures from these Fox X-Men films. What really sets this figure set apart from other figure sets is the accessories. The numerous head really puts us on a different level. Being able to make figures from different films with one set is fantastic. These guys' articulation, their sculpt, their accessories and paint is all on point. Don't get me wrong, the Professor's body has been used time and time again, but Magneto seems to have a lot of new parts and they both look really good. If I were to rate this set, I think I would easily give this an 8.5 out of 10. This is a very nice and creative way to give us these figures. 2 thumbs up, Hasbro. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.